I've got too much time on my hands. I've got too much time on my hands. This is not the typical complaint of most people. Most people are like, I don't have time for anything. But our whole life is nothing but time. Time equals life. It kind of depends on what you fill it with. And sometimes we feel as though, with the monotony of adulthood, wake, eat, take care of friends and family, get a little exercise, go to our job, eat again, try to sleep, pay some bills, repeat, repeat, repeat. It's a little bit like that movie Groundhog's Day. If you haven't watched it, I would suggest it at least once in your lifetime. It's where the guy wakes up on Groundhog's Day and it's the exact same day again. Exact same day again. And he keeps waking up to the exact same day, Groundhog's Day, again. Each time he can make a slightly different choice about what he does in this day and get slightly different results. And he continually keeps waking up in Groundhog's Day until he lives the day right. We feel a little bit like hamsters on a wheel. Life gets monotonous and repetitive. And it is like that movie Groundhog's Day. We keep waking up to the same damn thing over and over and over and over and over again. Certain obligations and duties we can't just shrug off. We're grown-ups. We have things we have to take care of. Subsisting, caring for ourselves, caring for our family, commitments, obligations, duties, a provision, and being a basic adult that you can't change. Circumstances that are outside of your control that you can't change. Some things about Groundhog's Day just are. But perhaps your perspective could use some shifting. If your days play out like they're the same day after day after day after day after day, being the same thing, perhaps there's a little shuffling you could do in your time and what you're doing with it to make more room for something new and different, to change, to make a few different choices, or to begin to perceive and reframe things differently. Look at the same situation differently to achieve a different internal result from it. Sometimes just a little shift in perspective can change your whole world. And a little adjustment in time management, taking a different route to work, talking to a different person, going to a yoga class after work instead of going straight home, hitting the fridge and the wine cupboard, going to a different coffee shop. It doesn't have to be a magnanimous change of your entire life, a gigantic overhaul of everything, just tiny little adjustments so it doesn't seem so repetitive. Sometimes we feel like we're sitting in a doctor's waiting room, that life is a doctor's waiting room, and you're just here waiting, counting down the hours, ticking down the clock, looking around the waiting room for something to play with, some magazine to flip through, that little kitty toy with the beads on it that you could slide around. Sometimes there are little wooden cars, pulling out our cell phones to kill the time. And we're just killing the time, counting down the time until our number is called and we're called back. We're in a rut, a repetitive rut. And you reach a certain age when you realize that possibilities are limitless. and limited, and that nothing really means anything. What you choose is what you choose. Nothing really means anything, and that's why everything means so much. Let that one sink in a little while. What you pick up in this waiting room really is inconsequential. It's your choice how you spend that time. It doesn't really matter, but because it doesn't really matter, you have free choice within the constraints you're given. That's why it all matters so very much. We're only here for a short time. Choose wisely. And when you feel yourself stuck in a rut, living repetitively, you could make massive overhaul changes like changing your job or something like that, but you don't necessarily need to shake things up that much. Something you can do in the interim is grow. Pick a tiny habit, a tiny change, a tiny place where you could grow or learn something new, or practice a new skill, or talk to a new person, go a different direction, eat something new, cook something new, try a new venue. Every day, commit to trying something new every day for a week. Doesn't have to be a big change, but some kind of change, something different and different than the day before. Every day for a week straight. Add some novelty to your life. Because we can do something in the time that we're here waiting in the waiting room besides just play around on our phone and pick up mindless toys just to kill the time. We can do more than just kill the seconds of our life. We can grow. We can utilize this platform that we have of breathing and living to do more. We are born for more than going to work and paying bills. It's up to each of us to figure out what that is and imbue the meaning into the magazine we choose to pick up, the toy we choose to play with. Because nothing means anything, the meaning comes from us. We must imbue the thing with meaning. The purpose, the direction we choose, the activities we choose, the growth we choose, the character we choose to become, the way we choose to contribute, and what we choose to do while we wait for our number to be called. The growth that we go in, the direction that we go in, within the constraints we're given while we wait here on this plane of existence. You decide, and you imbue the meaning into it. You imbue the why. You imbue the passion into the thing. You can grow while you wait. It's a good use of your time on this planet. Every day I would try to set a newer goal for myself, each more difficult than the last. At times it was frustrating, at times boring, but I kept trying. Slowly, the dedication bore fruit. Every day, I would try and set newer goals for myself. They can be goals. They can be slightly larger goals than you had on the same goal. They can be newer things, new experiences, new sights, new sounds, new songs, new flavors, new people, new subjects to explore, new art to explore, new world to explore. Something as simple as shifting your coffee shop or reading a book by a different author than you're accustomed to. Do something differently when you're stuck in a rut. Grow in a different direction, or expand or on the directions you're already growing in. If you're going and doing yoga every day, look up a different person, try a few positions, try mastering some new positions. If you are into cooking, try a different recipe, something exotic and completely out of your ordinary. It doesn't have to be a completely new goal. It doesn't have to be a completely new growth. But it can be in the same field as what you're already doing, what you're already interested in, but just different than what you're already interested in, or building upon what you're already interested in. Every day, I would try to set a newer goal or a newer thing or expand my goal for myself. Each more difficult or different than the other. At times it was frustrating. At times it was boring. But I kept trying. Slowly the dedication bore fruit. If you keep doing, trying to grow, trying to expand, trying to identify points in your life that you could improve on, strengths that you could strengthen, weaknesses you could shed, things that you're already interested in that could spring off to other things, ways that you can make small minor changes in your day-to-day routine and your time management, to do slightly different things with slightly different people, to shake things up. The more entertaining your time in this waiting room will be, the more enriching and rewarding your time in this waiting room will be, the greater the footprint you will leave behind. And eventually, slowly, through making these conscious decisions to do these new and different things, expand in new and different ways, or expand in ways that you already are through dedication, bigger, larger, different, day after day after day after day after day, your life will not seem so monotonous, so maddeningly repetitive, so pointlessly obtuse, just waiting. Instead, you will feel like you are productively heading somewhere. You are utilizing your time wisely. You are becoming something wonderful. What that is and where that is going eventually, you don't know. But the joy is in the journey. The joy is in the doing. We get a physiological and neurochemical cascade of pleasant states from the doing in our life. So when you are stuck in a rut, reliving the same day, try to do what he did in Groundhog's Day. Play your cards a little bit differently and get a different result. Try to grow in who you are and what you're doing and how you approach things each day, consistently, for a week straight at minimum, and slowly but surely things will shift in your heart, in your mind, or in your tangible life to a slightly different scenario, a slightly different day, a slightly different you, a more present, happy, involved, and excited about being here you. And the more you do this, it gains its own momentum. And the more you'll want to do this, growth and expansion will take on a life of its own. And you may find yourself in a completely different direction than you did ever anticipate, or a different frame of mind than you've ever been in before. But you have to start. So I ask you to try this week one new thing every day. It could be a different thing to learn about. It could be a different way to arrange your time. It could be taking a different route to work. It could be talking to a different person than you've ever spoken to before. It could be being more vulnerable with your partner than you've ever been before, sharing something you've never shared. It could be joining a class. It could be looking up something on YouTube, learn how to draw a video and trying to draw it. It could be taking a day off work to take care of yourself, or spend quality time with your family, having a sit-down family meal. If you haven't been, cooking something extremely exotic, trying something different, trying to expand, trying to grow, and trying to shake things up. At least one thing a day that has to be different than the day before, every day this week, and see if you can get a little scoot going on that sensation of being dead in the water.